Ever heard of the Shadow Collective?
That is gonna cost you.
And the girl?
I shall fashion her into a weapon which can help us destroy all those who have betrayed me. Times have changed. What does it mean for you to be a Jedi, guardian of peace and justice in a time of lawlessness?
Is this what our future holds? Always running, hiding.
Use your rage and unleash your potential. The Emperor wants you. Likewise.
I was so excited for this show. It looked visually stunning and tonally gritty, and of course featuring the return of one of my favorite Star Wars characters. So first of all, what's the context we need for Maul's character at this point? Maul Shadow Lord takes place after Order 66, and last we saw Maul, he was fleeing Ahsoka's ship in the wake of that event. The character's next appearance in the Star Wars timeline, before the end of Rebels Season 2, is actually toward the end of the movie Solo. Before he ended up alone and hunted on Malachor, Maul re-established himself as a crime lord over at least the Crimson Dawn Syndicate. So what happened between the Clone Wars Season 7 and Solo to get him there? And how might it have led to where he ends up in Rebels? That's the story this show sets out to tell. In this new, oppressive era, with the Jedi Order gone and his old master on top of the whole galaxy, where does Maul stand? What is driving him now? Also, we don't often get to focus on a villain as the protagonist of a Star Wars story. Maul is both sympathetic and also still an evil guy. Which side are the writers going to lean into and when? Before we get into the story, I need to say that, oh my gosh, the animation in this show is incredible. Everything is given a very painted texture. Even the smoke is like brushstrokes, and the atmospheric backgrounds are literally impressionist paintings. I think this was a great way to refresh the old Clone Wars animation style. Along with that softer, artistic touch, however, the lighting is more harsh and flashy, particularly from lightsabers and blaster fire, which adds a new intensity to the combat as it's literally more intense on your eyes. The visual style is both gritty and dark, yet also vibrant and colorful. It's a very unique feel and an impressive balance to achieve. Whether it's the harsh red of Maul's lightsaber or the pastel blend of Janix's sky, this show feels so intentionally artistic, and I love that. Let's get into it. Chapter 1: The Dark Revenge. This series starts on a new planet, Janix, and the glowing blue city is immediately giving cyberpunk vibes. We don't have to wait too long for the epic Maul introduction, of course with the Duel of the Fates theme. I love the flaming logo design that perfectly fits Maul's rageful character. I immediately noticed the more detailed, almost fiery texture and vibration of Maul's lightsaber. We are thrown right into the crime underworld in which Maul made a name for himself in the Clone Wars.
There are many who have prospered from my misfortune. Soon, they will all pay.
And there's our introduction to Maul's current goals. He's regathered a small group of loyal followers to help him exact revenge on everyone who has betrayed him, starting with two local crime bosses, Vario and Demas. Maul's gang includes a couple of fellow Zabraks, a hilariously evil little droid, and a remnant of Mandalorians. His second-in-command, Rook Kast, appeared among his Mandalorian followers in the Clone Wars Season 7. She is voiced in this show by Vanessa Marshall, the voice of Hera Syndulla in Rebels. She really does sound totally different here, though. She does a great voice for this character. Vario gets forced into joining the gang as well. He is kinda silly looking in a good way. I really like his voice and anxiously fast delivery. All his characteristics blend perfectly to create an understandable and much needed comedic character. Fun fact, Vario is actually the same Alina species from maybe the worst Clone Wars episode. Next, we are introduced to a Jedi Master and Padawan on the run. This isn't explicitly stated, but it very much becomes obvious by the end of the episode, if you haven't watched the trailer either. Something I really appreciate is that the show starts by portraying some of the more normal, everyday struggles that Jedi in hiding must face when they're not being chased by Inquisitors. This Twi'lek Padawan and her master are living on the streets begging for food, and when she gets caught stealing, she can't give her name or any identification. I do immediately get the sense that Devin is a natural at being stubborn. She's lucky Captain Lawson is a decent guy. Speaking of, Lawson is the last main character we're introduced to in this episode. A local police officer whose planet hasn't been bothered by the Empire, and he very much wants to keep it that way. But after Maul provokes Vario and Demas to fight each other, and then attacks the police station to break Vario out, keeping that secret is going to get a lot harder. I really enjoyed the jail heist. The choice to go pure red light during that sequence was perfect. Maul not killing Lawson felt a little too much like plot armor, unless he could already sense Lawson might be useful later. Anyway, the way Maul slowly turns and looks into her cell is chilling. A perfect, ominous, slight cliffhanger ending, which they continue to nail in pretty much every episode. Honestly, this episode flew by on first watch, even though it covered so much. An excellent pilot to start the show. Chapter 2: Sinister Schemes. This episode starts with an intense chase out of the prison that culminates in Master Daki pulling a classic Bolt move. If you know, you know. Episode 1 hooked you with lots of action, but after the opening sequence, Episode 2 slows down a bit to provide more setup for the story and flesh out the characters. We meet Lawson's son, Riley, learn that his parents have separated, and recognize that Lawson is probably dealing with it by spending too much time at work. During Lawson's investigation into Maul's Shadow Collective, we also meet Rena, who fills him in on who Maul is and why Lawson should be scared of him. I do admire how much Devin is not scared of him. The Twi'lek Padawan has been captured by Maul, who tells Rook,
"I shall fashion her into a weapon which can help us destroy all those who have betrayed me, including Darth Sidious."
And there's the real long-term goal. However, Devin continues to excel at stubborn resistance. The thing is, Maul is right that technically he's on her side against the Emperor who destroyed her order. He always hooks you with partial truth. It's why he's so convincing. Maul wants Devin to open her eyes and take on new perspective, to be willing to adapt to these lawless times. Of course, he wants to manipulate her into eventually seeing things his way, but he starts by pushing her to just think for herself, to move beyond the rigid teaching she got from the Jedi Order that just won't work anymore. And in the end, Devin does figure out what he wanted her to do to escape. She thinks outside the box and adapts. With intel from Vario, Maul wrecks some pikes. There's been so much gnarly, epic combat like that in the show already. They know how to make Star Wars fans happy. This episode left me with the same shock as the last one when I felt like it ended so quickly. Not that the episodes are actually short, they're about the same as the usual Clone Wars episode. And it's a very good sign that I'm not bored that it feels so fast. Chapter 3: Whispers in the Unknown.
I see a murderer.
Well,
Maul continues to try and convince Devin to see him on the same side as her, and not completely the monster she's been told about. Still, he can't help but be ominous. Turning off the lights after she grabs his lightsaber?
that's good. I can work with that. But you won't like it.
His voice starts to echo all around her at that point, sounding both close and without direction. Some great sound design detail there.
You crave that unfulfilled destiny. Your frustration betrays you.
Maul is patiently and methodically testing the waters of what will get in her head. because if he's gonna train her to help him against Palpatine, he needs Devin to actually be on his side, and he's willing to take the time to get her there. While earning Master Daki's trust, Lawson's continued refusal to call the Empire gets more and more pushback from his co-workers, and isn't helping his relationship with his son either. Lawson is actively in the middle of an investigation that happens to be a pretty big deal, but Riley still has every right to be disappointed about his dad leaving. I think the intended point here is that Lawson wouldn't have to be doing all of this work himself if he called for Imperial backup. At this point in the story, I understood what they were trying to do with Lawson, but I wasn't hooked on him as a character yet. Workaholic absent dad isn't exactly a new story trope either. Now, the fact that his former wife works for the Empire, that makes this family a little more interesting. Unfortunately, we don't really follow up on that potential tension, as Riley's mom only appears once during the rest of the show. Vario helping Maul get to the Pike Leader Krim, under duress, is very entertaining, but everything else at this point is just so B-plot to me compared to what is happening with Maul and Devin. Oh my gosh, this shadow shot is so good. Deciding it's time to wake up this stubborn Padawan, Maul starts hitting her where it hurts, more forcefully pushing her to use her anger.
You have no purpose, no hope. You are one of the few Jedi who survived. Now you squander that gift.
Her scream was so good. This fight choreography is excellent. You can feel Devin's desperation to get past Maul when he isn't even trying, literally one hand behind his back. Chapter 4. Pride and Vengeance. Yeah, I don't think that's Maul. We find out that after the end of the Clone Wars, Maul went to the Pike Leader Krim, who was not happy about his return and tried to kill him. One more betrayer is crossed off the list, and Maul has reclaimed control over the Pike Syndicate. It is admirable of Devin to want to do something to protect this planet from Maul instead of just running away. Although, maybe because what he said about squandering her gifts has gotten to her. It does seem like Maul let Devin go on purpose to lure Lawson there to try to make a deal with him, so the Empire doesn't ruin things for both of them. They have quite a respectful conversation before the tension breaks, because of course we need a mid-season confrontation. I think it was built up to pretty well.
You survive, but you do not live. It is your unwillingness to use your power that makes you weak.
This dialogue is so well written. Maul is raising some really thought-provoking questions. What life is a Jedi supposed to lead in a world that has turned against their principles, where they can't even use their abilities to help others? What meaning or purpose would there be in hiding and doing nothing? We've seen in other Star Wars stories how different Order 66 survivors decide to respond to those questions. But Daki and Devin have barely had the time to figure that out yet. Maul is trying to offer Devin his answer before she can choose her own. This fight is fast and it's awesome. Again, the lightsabers are so bright and vivid and flashy. Notice that Maul's prosthetic leg is bothering him here. That will come back later. And the episode ends with the Empire's arrival, accompanied by the Imperial March, of course. What a perfect shot to end on. That was a good episode. Chapter 5. Inquisition. The shadow of the Empire is cast over Janix as stormtroopers arrive under the command of Lieutenant Blake, your typical uppity British Imperial officer.
She tried to kill you.
An admirable attempt. She will make an excellent apprentice.
He delivered that so perfectly. Rook is starting to have some doubts about Maul's plan, though. And the Mandalorian mercenaries are getting antsy now that the Empire is threatening their chance of payment. Most threatening, of course, is the arrival of an Inquisitor, none other than the First Brother, usually called Marok, who first appeared in the Ahsoka series. We don't really know anything about this guy and never seen what he looks like. I was really confused by whatever the hell happened to him in Ahsoka, so I hoped that this show would redeem him a bit. They at least give him some serious aura. After interrogating Lawson, who hasn't given up his knowledge of the Jedi, Marok goes back to the scene of the confrontation with Maul and finds evidence of a lightsaber fight. The implication seems to be that he has psychometry, the rare Force ability of sensing echoes of the past through physical objects. Maul is so in Devon's head. Master Daki is a persistent survivalist and strictly against allying with Maul in any way. Devon is still at the point of listening to her master for now, but she's also wondering, what if I do want more purpose for my life? Well, now they're making things really hard for Lawson, poor guy. A lot of things get set up in this episode, but not a lot actually happens. I am glad these episodes got released 2 at a time. It really helps the pace of the show not feel too slow. Chapter 6, Night of the Hunted. Ooh, we get to see Maul practicing, and I recognize some of the moves he uses in the Duel of the Fates fight. That's just really cool. Oh, the Inquisitor is here. I think I know why they let Lawson go home. So, the Lawsons are on the run with the Jedi now, and poor Riley still has no idea what's going on. I enjoy this suspenseful chase of them getting away. Some solid, fun action here. Oh, Master Daki is so gonna die. Okay, maybe not right now.
And in case this gets messy, run.
I'll get ready to run.
Yeah, I like Rena, but she is not much of a mediator, is she? The train fight sequence is really cool. It's so flashy on the eyes, which I'm okay with. It's just kind of a lot. Devon is really holding her own, though. I'm impressed. She definitely couldn't forever, though, but thankfully...
I'm right here.
Oh, he has so much aura. I noticed the shifting depth of field a lot during this scene, which adds a really cool, immersive, cinematic feel. It's reached a level of quality that we haven't seen in Star Wars animation until now. So he is talking to the Emperor here, right? Not a whole lot to say about this one, even though it's very good, just because it's more action-packed. Chapter 7, Call to Oblivion. Dang, these opening shots just continue to be beautiful.
Maul is not our friend.
Then why are we following?
Because, as Devon says, he's better than the alternative. Devon has been surprised at how much he's stuck to his word of wanting to be her ally, though she doesn't fully understand why. She starts asking Maul genuine questions, learning about his master and what happened to him. But she's not just gonna leave with him without her master.
Do you truly believe that you are ready to face
The Empire alone. My patience for your vacillations wears thin.
Oh my gosh, his dialogue and Sam Witwer's delivery is so good. I know I'm a broken record, but this moment just especially stood out to me. I've noticed Devon using the classic Obi-Wan defensive pose a few times now, which makes sense as I believe that's the lightsaber form Padawans focus on most because it's so defensive. Oh, but she let out that angry scream again. There's a little satisfied side-eye from Maul, because here we see her choice to fight instead of protect Riley and get away, and that leads to Riley getting snatched by the Empire. She looked back and saw Riley beckoning to her and acted on her anger instead. When she reunites with her master and Lawson, Devon looks away guiltily and doesn't mention Maul. Then she insists on helping Lawson rescue Riley, which I do admire as her wanting to right her wrong, but I think she's also hooked on doing something instead of nothing, Maul's way rather than what her master keeps wanting to do. Lots of good character detail in those two scenes. Ooh, and things just got even scarier with the arrival of another Inquisitor. This is the one that found Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi. He's technically the 11th brother, but has also been referred to as just the Crow. He's even scarier than Marok with that mask. I think it's very fitting they chose 2 of the most mysterious and scary Inquisitors for this show. And it's so cool to watch Maul face both of them. I love the lightsaber steaming when they go through the waterfall. That's a great animation detail. Also, the water is doing more damage to that leg that's already been bothering Maul. We've never really seen his prosthetic legs be a weakness or detriment before. I really like that they explored that more. Oh, he definitely flashed back to Savage's death there, watching a fellow Zabrak lose a brother, and as he loses yet one more person who has shown him real loyalty. He might be limited by his legs, but not by his force power. And now we see that moment at the end of episode 4 definitely foreshadows and parallels this one. I just realized I haven't talked about Two Boots at all. He has a good character moment in this episode where, after he called the Empire in episode 4 because of Protocol, now the Empire is acting against Protocol, and that's the push in the right direction Two Boots needed. He's a very likable droid side character, but definitely not the most interesting part of the episode to me. Chapter 8, The Creeping Fear. Is that not totally the Palpatine spinning move from Revenge of the Sith? It sounds like the exact same yell sound, which is sick. For most of the show, we've still been experiencing Maul through the eyes of other characters. In this episode, however, we finally experience Maul through his own eyes. We do not see Maul down and emotionally vulnerable like this very often, if ever.
I hate you.
There's some stuff going on in his head that he has not dealt with and does not let on to anyone else. Maul begins to relive his past, partly to make sure the audience remembers, or gets caught up if you haven't watched Clone Wars. 2 of the memories shown here are from Season 4, Episode 21, and Season 5, Episode 16. Maul has gone through a lot, but if anyone knows how to use trauma and anger to stay alive and keep moving forward, it's him.
Sidious, you did this to me.
Maul goes on a full emotional arc during this episode, from saying, "I hate you" to his younger self, to saying,
It's all right. I won't let him do this to anyone else.
wow, what a way to win over our sympathy. This moment, this episode in general, humanizes Maul in a way that nothing else quite has, because we've never seen young Maul on screen before. I already found his story tragic, but seeing its beginning hits different. We learned very quickly in episode 1 that Maul is still driven by revenge. Nothing new there, but everyone who wants revenge wants it for a reason. People who lash out to hurt others have often experienced deep hurt themselves, and this episode reveals to us all the deeper pain at the heart of Maul's relentless drive toward revenge, and the way that pain has even twisted his memories in justification of his purpose, 'cause his brother Savage's death didn't happen quite how he remembers it.
You must have your revenge. I'm not like you. I never was.
All of that was by far the best and most interesting part of the episode to me. I'm always down for the emotional turmoil, but I'll quickly cover what else happened. I really admire Lawson being willing to sacrifice himself for his son, though I did see the bait and switch coming. Devin gets a few fun, badass moments in their escape. Oh my gosh, did Rena die? She's been putting up a fight instead of complying every single time, and I really respect that. Vario is very proud of his idea to hide in Demas's office, and reveals that we're going to see Dryden Voss, so they're definitely making the connection to the Solo scene. Chapter 9, Strange Allies. Dryden Voss offers to help Maul get off Janix, and in return, wants Maul to make him the leader of Crimson Dawn. And there's our backstory for their characters in the Solo movie. We know from Rebels that when Maul wants an apprentice, he will take advantage of a mental connection. Like he will call to Ezra, Maul calls to Devin through a dream, and at this point, she trusts that he will genuinely help them. A tense alliance is formed, since Maul also needs Lawson's knowledge of ways to get out of the city, and wants to make sure that Devin safely escapes the Empire with him. Master Daki is not quite fooled, however.
Maul would not be able to access your mind with such ease unless there was a connection between you. Did he help you for your sake or his own?
He sees through Maul's facade to what he's actually trying to do here. In this scene, Maul is so just showing off for Devin. We watch the Inquisitors quietly follow their trail, building up the suspense until this epic climax. The depth of effort the animators put into this show really comes through in the fluid and captivating choreography of this fight. and some of the epic poses that are just really fun to see. Dang, that lightsaber throw. And then Maul switches into dual wield? Maybe he learned a thing or two from Ahsoka. And oh my gosh, he kicks the lightsaber back as he's jumping in the air. Can he get any cooler?
Inform him. They are headed his way.
So, my immediate reaction to the end of this episode was, bro, no way it's actually happening. Rook is just dead, right? That iconic breathing just never gets old. The way his silhouette just slowly appears through the mist. Oh my gosh. Chapter 10, The Dark Lord. And for the season finale, we get an intro with the full epic Duel of the Fates intro. Hell yes. Wow, do they know how to give Vader aura. The way he just casually deflects the blaster bolts and walks after them, lifting and throwing and bringing down rocks like it's nothing. And he immediately knows Maul's weakness, striking right where his leg has been malfunctioning the whole season. Also, bruh, the jump scare hand through the wall got me so bad. Here's the answer to anyone who's theorized about a Maul versus Vader fight. Thinking back to this line from Rebels Season 2,
I cannot defeat Vader alone.
It totally makes sense that Maul would have encountered Vader at some point. How else would he know he doesn't stand a chance? Darth Vader's fighting style is deliberate, forceful, heavy, and unyielding. It's a very intentionally channeled anger, a direct counter to Maul's flashy agility and more chaotic rage. Vader doesn't even say a word this whole episode. This feels like a perfect representation of Obi-Wan's words.
He's more machine now than man.
Both Maul and Master Daki can sense there's something different, more sinister and terrifying about Vader, a Sith Lord compared to an Inquisitor. But Maul has to be figuring out that this is Anakin Skywalker.
Oh, if I am right, he knows how you think.
As we saw at the end of the Clone Wars, he knew Palpatine's plan to make Anakin his apprentice, as they face something more threatening than anything they've ever encountered. Plus the two Inquisitors still, by the way. Devin is being openly torn between Maul's advice and her master's. Maul saying they need to catch Vader off guard with aggression, that the Jedi don't stand a chance unless they do something unexpected, is sounding pretty reasonable, and Devin is just one tragic step away from choosing that path. The moment we met Devin's character, I knew this season had to end with her master's death, throwing Devin into an emotional turmoil that would lead to her joining Maul. And Maul manipulates the situation to go exactly this way. He needs Devin to suffer loss like he has so that she will share his purpose. But when he pushes Daki towards Vader, there is genuine concern on his face, as he hears Devin struggling and realizes he has to go help her or she's gonna die. Sacrificing Daki is an emotional reaction that also happens to suit his rational purposes. Alone, the old and weary Jedi Master doesn't stand a chance against Darth Vader. In the wake of her grief, Maul is there right when Devin needs it, and watches in satisfaction as she takes the path that he has been planning for her. Devin's scream as she's trying to run towards Vader was chilling, but Maul holds her back with a promise, with the feeling that has defined almost his entire life, a feeling he can now share with her.
And we will have our revenge.
And so, Devin's journey has reached its inevitable conclusion. It's kind of cathartic, sympathetic, and very much tragic all at the same time. The show has made you want to root for Maul, but this finale reminds you that at the end of the day, he's manipulated a Padawan into turning to the dark side. We can agree with him that Sidious is the true villain, but not agree with Maul's actions. All that to say, I really like that the show makes you grapple with the complexity of Maul's character. I was not expecting Lawson to die until I got to this episode and started to see it coming. I'm sad to see it happen. Last quick side note, some of the painted landscapes in this episode are amazing. Also, hyperspace looks very cool and unique in this style.
All right. I'm ready.
So that was some freaking good Star Wars, wasn't it? So intense this whole episode. with so much insane quality lightsaber combat that isn't just for the looks, though it certainly looks incredible, but is also clearly intentionally designed for each character and the story being told. So, now that we've gone through every episode, what do I think of the season as a whole? First of all, Maul is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, and I will admit that bias automatically makes me lean toward enjoying this show. I will never be disappointed that I'm getting more of a character I find fascinating and fun to watch. And I think the place Maul ends up in Rebels compared to the Clone Wars is significantly different enough to make this in-between story interesting and worth telling. The emotion we see from Maul in this show, the implication that Maul had an apprentice he must have lost, that he must have failed in his ambitions for revenge on Darth Sidious, all adds important weight to the emotion we see when he latches onto Ezra. Admittedly, the story feels like it's just getting started, but I think this is a solid foundation. My main critique of Maul Shadow Lord is that the amount of time we spend with Lawson and Riley does not feel justified. I think it was a good idea to have characters who are just normal people, caught in this conflict between Maul, the Jedi, and the Empire, to have an outside perspective on all these conflicting ideologies. But they didn't really go anywhere with that. The Lawsons didn't end up feeling that important or adding much meaningful to the story. The characters were mostly just plot devices, which could have been fine with me, but it felt like we were supposed to be more invested in them than that. I wonder if the ending is trying to set up a parallel between Riley and Devin, as they've now both lost their father/mentor, but I just don't care that much about the future of Riley's character. My last note is the show is very predictable, but this isn't as big a deal to me as it might be to other people. We know Maul is gonna make Devin his apprentice. It's pretty clear from the first episode. What's interesting is how we get to the destination. I really liked watching Devin's arc. She wrestles with some deep questions, and it all felt realistic. I'm excited to see where her character goes as she starts training with Maul. In conclusion, I think the story could have narrowed in more on just Maul and Devin, probably been 8 episodes instead of 10, and thus felt more focused and well executed. It's not perfect, and it's not close to being my new favorite Star Wars show or anything. But overall, a solid season with a lot of really cool content, and the outstanding cinematic quality, for me, definitely balances out some of the writing and pacing flaws. I'm so excited they're already working on season 2. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed making it. If you're new around here, subscribe for more in-depth Star Wars reviews like this. I'm about to finish going through Star Wars Rebels and have lots of potential video ideas after that. I tried to avoid too much content from other people talking about Maul Shadow Lord, so I could keep my review as original as possible, but if I missed any major cool details, please leave a comment and let me know. Until next time, may the Force be with you.